特別サービスといくか。口に合うといい。
Alright, what's going on, guys? WeBull is back again, coming into the showcase on the new White Day Party Time Toshiro. And yeah, let's just get right into it. I do have him at T15. I only have him at 1 out of 5. I do think that he's a good character. Going into it, he is a Soul Reaper captain. Oh, it stays on this now? Oh, that's kind of cool. Alright, that's dope. Alright, so he is a Soul Reaper captain with a Hollow Killer. He does have freeze on all of his attacks. I do want to get into that soon. We do have level 10 SP with strong attack recharge. I do think that he's worth working on for those that are interested in T15ing or T20ing him. I do have the T set, fortification pill, and lieutenant's badge, all with 30 SP. For the side links, we do have the strong attack recharge damage links, as well as the SAR full stam Retsu. For bonus abilities, I did give him full stamina damage boost, and I'll get into why in a second. You'll see here that for his kit, he actually has freeze on all of his attacks, as well as the debuff mechanic on his special move. That is really important because that actually nerfs their quote-unquote defense by 80%, causing you to deal a massive amount of damage. On top of that, we also have full stam of 16% thanks to the link, and then full stam of 25% from the T15. So just keep that in mind when you're seeing this. Now, he has weakened defense, so going along with that debuff mechanic on the special move, this character actually hits incredibly hard despite not having weakening like a lot of these other characters, such as White Ichigo or Bankai Shuhei, who actually makes use of the damage from his special move because he's an SP based unit. Going into his innate skills, we do have Read Hollow dodges, Sprinter +1, and Team Party stamina recovery, which is why I like full stamina damage boost on this character in particular, because he actually boosts and helps the party when it comes to this stamina. Keep in mind that the Read Hollow dodge is not going to be all that important outside of some of the single player quests that you might see. I don't really see Caleb putting dodge characters in co-op content just yet. Hopefully they don't, but I wouldn't put it past Caleb. Not in this day and age. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, and if y'all couldn't tell, I don't really lift. So Berserker of 20% with a Bruiser of 20%, Debilitator plus 5 seconds, Frenzy +1, Weakened Defense, and Guard Break. And then we also have the Devastation 40% with the increased Heart Link Slot Potions +5 and increased Heart Droplet Drop plus 30%. This character is really, really good for farming, and on top of that, he's going to be useful in droplet runs, IZ, guild quest, and honestly, I feel like this character is actually going to be really good everywhere. His only real issue is that he doesn't have Havoc, which is really unfortunate because his first strong attack, in my opinion, without Havoc is relatively narrow. Let's get into IT. I don't remember what killer they have. Oh, we have ×2 potions. ER, in my opinion, is still better than farming regular potions in just IZ, by the way. Perfect. We do have hollows here. Excellent. Let's go. Alright, so let's do this. Shout out to my boy 20T and Senoxy and the Demon V. Alright. Yoruka. So going into his Nat string. Kind of interesting Nat string. It changes colors depending on the last one. You see here that it gets redder and redder every single time, with the last one hitting for approximately 20 to 25% more damage. First strong attack is going to be a 40% magnification for strong attack, and that's going to be the one that pushes enemies back relatively far. Second strong attack is going to be the 800 AoE distant second strong attack. In case you want to put a nice little frosted dessert in her mouth, you already know what to do. Just cream. And then third strong attack, standard full screen. Really, really weird animation because it doesn't look like it has any power to it. Push back. Now that's exactly what I was talking about with the first strong attack. It's relatively narrow. Like, if I don't think that'll... Yeah, okay, so it does hit him. Ah, dude, with Havoc, he'd be so crazy. Yeah, so not able to hit the enemy on the side there. With Havoc, that actually probably would have hit. Second strong attack, 800 AoE distant. Now, this second strong attack does have some back range to it, if you're not familiar with the 800 AoE. pretty good damage. I wish this character had increased status element chance or a freezer as an ability. Boom, boom. You'll see here that we were actually able to hit behind us, which is good. First strong attack. Ah, we were able. Yeah, I kind of wish I was able to hit this guy. Now, we can get hit and then heal it back up if we don't get hit for too much because of the recover 20% stamina. You'll see that over there. So, he doesn't really need any stamina links thanks to his natural regen, which I personally... I kind of like it. I think it'll be good for like IZ Auto. I think it'll be good for maybe IT until the link slot character comes out. 20% stamina. Is that enough to fully heal? Cool. And since we didn't get hit, we get to keep our 10% damage thanks to the combo. You'll see that we actually hit that enemy there. That's kind of weird. Good damage from the first strong attack. I feel a lot of people don't like that first strong attack. Personally, I do like it. Even more so when it does have Havoc, especially for these harder enemies that tank a lot more. Keep in mind that the debuff is going to go off immediately. Boom, boom. Yeah, you'll see that the down actually hits right away. That is because when you use a debuff, it will actually proc immediately. So if you have a second strong attack, you'll actually debuff, and then the actual damage will come out. When you use a special move, the debuff comes out, and then the special move damage comes out. That's incredibly important to note when it comes to calculating damage, because normally for special moves with like weakening, for example, without the debuff mechanic, like how do I explain it? Weaken defense applies after the initial hit. Weakening applies after the initial hit, which is why a lot of my showcases with characters with weakening, we calculate damage with the initial hit and then the subsequent hits with the bonuses. Now I think, yeah, this just has Soul Reaper enemies. So, 12,000 from that first strong attack. Really good damage there, actually. That's actually really good damage. For a character with only Berserker 20%. I mean, we do have 41% full stam. So we are getting quite a bit of damage there. Third strong attack. Alright, so 11.6 damage there. Let me just knock out these. Let me take this big boy out. Boom, boom. I do like that first strong attack for damage purposes. 11,600. This hits. Let me actually pull up how much this hits. It says that it has 12 hits on it, but you're genuinely you're gonna get hit like maybe 6 to 8 times at most. So we're gonna multiply this by 1.6. Let's just say that we have killer on these enemies. 18.5k. That's completely respectable for a character with Berserker 20%. Then we're gonna multiply this by, let's just say 6. So 111,000. Usually you'll actually hit it for about this much, 140 to like 160, because if you aim it properly, which is my big issue with it, is that you have to aim it properly in order to drag the enemies across the map, then you'll actually get a lot of damage. But if you end up missing, let me see if I can pull it up. These enemies die too. The enemies die too quickly. But if like you hit an enemy that's like really tanky, and you're not able to kill them relatively fast, you're gonna end up maybe hitting them for 4 to 6 times, which is gonna be relatively low damage in comparison to characters with a beam or a lunge, or etc. Maybe not the 18%, because the 18% is dog water. But yeah, second strong attack, 13.7k. Keep in mind that that's without a crit. Oh, do I want to calculate it with a crit? Because the 11.6 is without crits. 12.9. I'm not gonna lie, I like that 12.9k damage though. Hold on. 12.9k damage, multiply by 1.6, multiply by like 8, 165. Yeah, that, okay, so it is good damage. It just, seeing Berserker 20% without getting like really high multipliers, because I get that he gets weakened defense and the debuff mechanic on his special move, but you're only using that special move once per run in co-op. That was like 16k, 16,000, 1.6 times, I do believe it hits 6 times, 150,000, yep, pretty standard damage, it's good. Alright, and the last one hits for 13.3k, 13.3k, divided by... There we go. Oh my god, I hate calculators sometimes. I forgot you have to keep clearing it all the way. It's so irritating. 1.6 times 8, 170,000. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that was with the crit. Alright. Debuff mechanic goes off first, and then we're going to calculate the damage after that. I like the special. Alright, so 61,500. Let's just jot that down right away. 61,500. Alright, so I do find it funny that Toshiro gives you a nice, refreshing drink, and Aizen drugs you. Sorry. It's jokes. It's jokes. Alright, so we're gonna multiply this by 4, and oh no, because he does have weakened defense. Let's calculate that properly, huh? So the debuff mechanic is going to trigger. We're going to hit for 61,500. Boom, boom. We're going to actually... Okay, so he has devastation 40% with the debuff mechanic. You know, I kind of want to... Let's do IZ with someone else. Preferably with roughly the same build. Okay, so for this experiment, I did T15 my Ichigo. You'll see here that with this and the full stamina damage boost, we're getting roughly full stamina damage boost 41% like the Toshiro, and we also have devastation 40%. Keep in mind, this is going to... he has the same killer, so it should be just fine to test, and we won't weaken the enemy until the first hit like normal. So we're going to test out the damage to make sure that the debuff damage actually gets calculated before the initial hit. Alright, so we built up enough combo. We're just gonna go grab this. I'm gonna go around just to make sure that I don't get hit. Boom, boom. So you'll see here that even with a crit, we only dealt 37,500 damage from the initial hit, and Toshiro dealt 61,500. So the debuff damage actually does go off first. That's really important to note. And then we also get the weakened defense damage, and don't forget that we also freeze the enemy, which is pretty cool. So the debuff mechanic goes off first. Now with every subsequent hit, we're actually going to be dealing times 1.3. Alright, so as I was editing this video, I realized that I didn't even calculate in killer, and that's really important. So when it comes to killer, we would actually end up getting this 61,500, multiply with for the 60% for the killer, 98,400. When we multiply in... Can I like... Oh, I can double click this? Cool. Now, when we add in the weakened defense, that 98.4k becomes the standard, because that's with killer, with the debuff mechanic plugged in, because that goes off before the actual damage of the attack. And then we would actually end up getting a total of 482,000 damage with Toshiro special on that that Ichigo, which if I actually rewind it, let's actually rewind it a little bit here. Yeah, so as I rewind it here, you'll actually see the critical of 112,045. So if we take that damage and we factor in the fact that he has the debuff mechanic already applied, let's just take 112,000 times 1 point. I hate calculators sometimes, man. There we go. Let's just multiply by 10 because I'm too lazy to delete. So we're going to multiply this by 1.3. We're going to multiply this by 3 plus the 112,000. And literally on this attack alone, if we're calculating it with the crit, we're actually dealing 548,000 damage on that Ichigo. If we want to do it without the crit, we can also do that. It's like roughly 100,000, as you see in the back over there. Multiply that by 1.3 times 3 plus 100,000, and there you go. That 65,000 that 61,500 that we dealt here is actually borderline without the crit, actually, like if you look at it over here. So 490,000 damage with this Toshiro. So this damage is really strong. Divide this by the 35,000, right? We're dealing 75% damage. Now keep in mind there's a range, and this debuff mechanic isn't a defense break of 80%. It's a damage multiplier of 80%, kind of along the lines of like spiritual pressure boost plus 80%, how that sort of affects that damage multiplier, right? So you're not just getting an extra, you know, oh, it's like 50% damage when this enemy has defense. Technically, defense isn't even actually a stat that enemies have. They just have a set number of HP, which is why a lot of the times you end up dealing the same amount of damage unless they have damage reduction like they do in Inheritance Trial. However, since Toshiro is getting 80% damage bonus immediately, a max transcended Toshiro should be hitting incredibly hard. Because say a character would deal 100,000, say Toshiro would deal 100,000 damage, this is gonna get multiplied by 1.8 immediately, and then he's gonna get that 1.3 times 3 plus 180,000. So he would end up dealing a significant amount of damage, and that's really good damage. His only real issue, like I said, is the fact that he doesn't have Havoc. And I do think, while I do think that is an important aspect of a character to get, like a really strong trait that a character should have, it's not the end all be all. And as long as the character is strong enough to handle their own, which I do believe this Toshiro is, I think it's fine. I genuinely think it's fine. Is he worth going crazy for? No, I don't believe so. I think that he's just an overall good character with an amazing nuke that could potentially help the party immensely thanks to the weakened defense and the plus 80% damage from his special move, which that 80% damage will apply to all the characters around, which is excellent for content like Epic Raids. But I'm gonna leave it at that. Guys, grind on, catch up with him, and stay blessed. Honestly, what I say, go for this Toshiro. Honestly, his individual, it's okay. I don't blame people for going for Toshiro, especially if they're your favorite character. I think they did a really good job with him. I just wish they gave him Havoc. That's my only what is it called? That's my only real criticism with this character. Aside from that, I think he performs incredibly well. He has Guard Break, he has the Heart Droplet drop plus 30%, and Heart Link Stop Poison plus 5, so it gives him a bit more value. He is a ranged Hollow Killer with incredible multipliers when it comes to the weakening and the weakened the debuff and the weakened defense. And don't forget that he also freezes on a stick whenever you want. So at the very least, you can protect yourself if you know that the character is about to what is it called? If you know the character is going to come at you, like say in Senkaimon, his first strong attack, you just launch him across the map. If they freeze, cool, you get some extra damage on them. If he doesn't freeze, then if you're able to deal enough damage to get them to waste their special from across the map, and then you just take no damage, it works out. Overall, good job on Caleb. I think that he did good. I think they did good. Do I think he's better than Aizen? Honestly, by what I've seen today, and just seeing like what he can do, yeah, I do. Do I think that Aizen is worthless? No, absolutely not. I think he has his uses in other content, especially when it comes to autoing. But I'm leaving it at that. Just grind. I'll catch up with him and stay blessed. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, have a great day, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. Plus, he doesn't roofie you, so I mean, there's that. All right, so I did something, and I'm like, wait a second. Let me. I was talking to someone, and I'm like, you know, Toshiro actually might be one of the hardest hitting units in the game. And I didn't really think about it until I actually checked it out. And I'm like, wait a second. So Toshiro, he deals 180. Let's just compare him to Daddy Ichigo, who's also considered one of the hardest hitting units because of his bombardment. Now, assuming that they're both T20 buck-ass naked. You'll see here full stamina damage boost. We're gonna have the 25% damage. I'm gonna delete as we get through this damage calculations. Baseline damage of 100. Keep in mind that he does not have devastation. He doesn't have the debuff mechanic that Toshiro has. So the baseline damage is gonna be 100 over here. Now we're gonna hit 7 times after we deal weakened defense. So we're gonna do the weakened defense times the amount of hits, and we're going to get a total of 1262 damage, 1262.5 damage to be exact. And then Toshiro is going to be dealing with full stamina damage boost and double weakened defense. Keep in mind that this is times 2, 25% more damage for the full stam, 180 damage baseline because the debuff takes place before the initial hit, times 1.4 for the devastation, because remember, he is devastation too. To go along with the debuff mechanic, right? So 180, multiply that by 3 for the amount of hits, multiply that, remember order of operations doesn't matter when you're multiplying, within the parentheses, of course, times 1.4 for the devastation, times 1.6 for the double weakened defense, because it's weakened defense, but weakened defense adds into each other, it doesn't stack on top of each other. Otherwise it'd be like times 1.3 times 1.3, which would be broken as hell. But we deal 1827% damage, 1827 damage, and when we calculate that, that is a 44.7% damage increase over Daddy Ichigo. Now keep in mind, obviously this is not in practice, this is just math, and we could potentially do like full-on Senkaizen builds, and then this 1.25 would turn into, assuming that it's all links and we're doing 60% full stam, this would get changed to 1.85, but then Toshiro would change to 1.85 too. So we either way we deal in massive PP, and Toshiro also has 4 more SP, 4. So technically, like, you can't argue like, oh yeah, but he has less spiritual pressure because he doesn't. So maybe this 1827 will be like 1828. Anyways, I'm going crazy, but either way, damn, bro. Toshiro hits hard. And Max sending him for Hollow Week could be good. Now, obviously, if Daddy Ichigo has double killer, because he does have Captain Killer, you know, so that would definitely sway things in his favor. But it's still crazy to think about, just like outright, if you don't have killer, Toshiro still hits like a truck. And then on top of that, keep in mind that the weakened defense, the double weakened defense, and the debuff mechanic trigger on the enemy, meaning everyone's dealing massive PP, not just Daddy Ichigo, where Daddy Ichigo would probably just be helping with the 30% extra damage, assuming that the enemy is even alive long enough to survive Toshiro's onslaught. And Toshiro's only like 12 years old, so like, that's illegal.